What's going on, guys? It's PokePond back with another video for you. We got so much to talk about today. This is not a drill. We have a new Eevee set on the horizon. This could be absolutely huge for the hobby. We got Evolving Skies going absolutely vertical on the charts again. Make sure you subscribe down below to never miss an opportunity. Let's get into it. As always, we got lots to talk about today. We are, as ever, got loads and loads of tabs open, lots to talk about. We'll start off with the news and then we'll go into some price movements on sealed booster boxes across Sword and Shield, because that seems to be the hot area at the moment. That's why we focus on it every week. That's where the serious gains and price movements are going to be happening over the next 12 months. So the first bit of news is there's yet another new set coming out. This is a new set that's going to be coming out in Japanese, and it's going to be their next high class set. So they call them high class sets in Japan. Essentially, it's like their holiday sets. So the last few holiday sets we've had, for example, is like Paldean Fates. Their last high class set, Shiny Treasure EX, a lot of the cards came over into English and became our Paldean Fates. However, in the past, sometimes their holiday sets become our mainline sets. We saw that with Crown Zenith, and Crown Zenith is one of the coolest mainline sets of Sword and Shield, and it was just a holiday set in Japan. So there is a possibility that this holiday set that's going to be coming out soon in Japanese could actually become a mainline set over here in the UK. It will definitely be at least a holiday set for us, but it would be really cool if they make it a mainline set as well. And I've got a feeling that that might be possible. So we know nothing about what's going on with English. All we know is it's called Terrastal Festival, or Terrastal Festival EX is what it's called in Japanese, and it's coming out on December the 6th in Japan. So that's, let's see, about 7 weeks time. And what's really interesting about this is it is a 180 card set, and the poster child for the set is an Eevee. Now, if we get an insane Eevee special set, and look, you can see an Umbreon on the cover, you can see a Glaceon on the cover art as well. So I'm thinking these are going to be the people that are on the on all of the booster pack variants. So there's an Eevee, there's a Terra Umbreon there, which is very interesting. A Terra Glaceon, a Terra Terrapagos, and a Terra Ogopon. So this could be absolutely insane when it comes into English. I would predict that this will probably come into an English set around February, March kind of time. And as soon as I know more, I'm going to let you guys know, because you and I both know that if a really, really strong Eevee set comes into English, we could be on Evolving Skies Part 2. And we all know what happened with Evolving Skies and is still happening with Evolving Skies. It's just going up and up and up in price. It's more than 8 times retail in some cases at the moment, so people have made some serious money on that. We haven't seen many of the cards yet. Again, it's only just really been released, but we know it's going to have a Terra EX Eevee, and it's also going to have a Terra EX Flareon. But these are just kind of like normal chase cards. I would expect, because it's a 180 card set, it's a big set, it's a holiday set, there's probably going to be lots of secret rares, secret illustration rares, and we're probably going to get a secret illustration rare Eevee, and judging from the artwork here, potentially chase secret illustrations of Umbreon, Glaceon as well, which could be absolutely massive. Like, the Pokemon market, like for both collectors and investors, will absolutely go insane for this set if it's got chase special illustration Eevee cards in it. We need to keep an eye on this. We need to potentially save some money from Christmas and be ready to buy into this. If that is the case, it's going to be sold out everywhere, but I'll pay a premium on eBay on the secondary market, because if if it's going to be as crazy as I think it's going to be, we could have an Evolving Skies Part 2 on our hands. Okay, if that's not enough news for you, weirdly we're getting more Pokemon 151 products that have never released before. These new 151 products are a special collection box called Blooming Waters, and it's, I mean, take what you want from Blooming Waters. Like, what does that mean? Potentially it's a Venusaur themed box or a Blastoise themed box, or I don't know, Blooming Waters, maybe Vileplume is a possible guess as well. Don't know much else about that at the moment. Just a bit weird that we're getting new 151 collection boxes over a year and a half after 151 came out. But obviously that's just giving people another opportunity to buy into Pokemon 151, which was actually quite a decent Scarlet and Violet set, if not the best Scarlet and Violet set so far. Another bit of news is GameStop in America, at selected stores, people can drop off their cards for PSA submissions now, which is actually really interesting. It only costs £1 more than it would to send it off yourself. So it's just kind of making the whole PSA submission and grading cards a lot more user friendly, especially for people who aren't used to it or haven't done it before, and especially like younger kids. If it gets them more involved in making slabs and stuff, then that's cool. What's that going to do to the slab market? I don't know, but it's just something interesting that's going on in our hobby that we should be aware of. Let's have a look at what's in stock at the moment then. We'll have a quick look at the UK market, obviously because I'm based here in the UK, it's where my expertise lie, but then I'll also look at the US market as well and see what's going on with US prices, as I know some of you are US viewers, and we can learn a lot from each other's markets, because sometimes we go out of stock of something, the price shoots up, and then a couple of months later you go out of stock and then you see that same trend, and vice versa. We can always learn a lot from each other's markets, and that's what makes my price analysis so unique out of everyone on YouTube, is I can quite often see trends before they happen, and it's not just predictions. I can back it up with data, with what's going on in different Pokemon markets in different regions, and it's just super interesting. If you are going to be interested in taking some of my investment decisions and advice, it's not really financial advice, it's just what I would do with my money in that situation, and generally I've got a pretty good success rate. But I would always say, go back, check my credentials. I've been posting videos for over 12 months, making predictions every single week, and just go back, look at some of those videos, look at the price points of what the boxes were at and what I'm saying, and then look at the price points of them now, and the numbers speak for themselves is all I'm going to say. So let's have a look at what's in stock in the UK right now. Absolutely insane that Fusion Strike is still in stock. We say this every week. This is by far the best buy you can buy at the moment in the UK. To be able to buy Fusion Strike, which is one of the strongest sets from the Sword and Shield era, years after it came out, it's right at the end of its print window as well. Like, just the fact it's even in stock for retail price is absolutely bananas. It sold out in the US ages ago, and the price just shot up to way over like $220, $240 a box, like 40-50% gains over retail. And the fact that we can still buy it for retail from the official source here in the UK is absolutely insane. If you're new to it and you're willing to invest that amount of money on a sealed booster box. Sealed booster boxes are always the safest investment out of all of the sealed product. Then I would always recommend Fusion Strike. If you can't afford to buy in at booster box price, because everyone's budgets are different, you can also pick up things like sleeved booster packs, and potentially make a play on Elite Trainer boxes, but it's a little bit more risky. So we're just going to focus on which sets are popping at the moment, and focus on booster boxes for now. But obviously whatever I'm saying can also be applied down to some of the smaller products like the Elite Trainer boxes, if you can get them at the right price. Right, let's have a look then. So Fusion Strike is available for retail. That is absolutely insane. And then the only other Sword and Shield boxes that are available are Brilliant Stars and Battle Styles. Battle Styles, don't touch it. It's just not the set. In my opinion, it is the worst set of Sword and Shield. Some people disagree, some people like it, that's fine. but just be aware that battle styles never really had that increase in price, and there is just so much of it around, and there will be for years to come. Battle styles got printed into the absolute ground, and you can just always find it for retail everywhere in every region around the world. Battle styles, I don't know what they were thinking with it. It is just everywhere. I'm not saying it's an awful set, it's just one of the worst out of Sword and Shield, and there's just so much of it around. So everything is about supply and demand in this market, and there's just so much supply of it, it's just going to outweigh that demand. Brilliant Stars is a decent buy for retail, and people sleep on Brilliant Stars quite a lot as well, because in the US market they went out of stock of Brilliant Stars about 4 or 5 months ago, around about summertime, and they actually saw quite a decent sharp rise up in price, which was really positive to see. I've always been a big fan of Brilliant Stars, and I think people just thought it was going to be a bit of a lackluster set for climbing in value, and we really didn't see that. As soon as stock levels went out in the US, it really started to climb, and I think part of that is behind the Alt Art Charizard card that you can get in there, which I actually think is a really fantastic card and severely undervalued right now, even in a single and a PSA 10. I think in years to come, the price now is going to look really cheap. Also Astral Radiance as well. Astral Radiance is available. Again, one of those sets which is like slightly above average in my respect. If I'm ranking all the Sword and Shield sets, I would put it above average, like the top half of Sword and Shield. And yeah, you can pick it up for retail now, which is absolutely mad. Good deal if you can pick it up. Let's have a look at the US market then. US market is quite interesting because the only boxes that you have available are battle styles. Like I said, again, it's just available in every region of the world. There's just way too much supply of it. Don't touch it. Vivid Voltage. Vivid Voltage is a weird one where it was out of stock for like the longest time all around the world, and it just never saw that increase in price. It just doesn't have that demand down behind it. It does have the big chase sort of rainbow enlarged mega fat Pikachu and the normal fat Pikachu as well, which I think are cool cards and they probably will do well long term, but it's just in the lower half of all of the Sword and Shield sets. It just doesn't have the demand behind it. Silver Tempest, on the other hand, Silver Tempest I put in the same region as Brilliant Stars, where people still kind of sleep on it a little bit, but I do think it's in the top half of all of the sets. And just like with Brilliant Stars, I think as soon as it goes out of stock, people are going to FOMO into it. You've got an even better alt art card than the Brilliant Stars. You have the alt art Lugia V, which I think is one of my top 5 cards of Sword and Shield. Maybe even top 3 cards of Sword and Shield, if I'm really honest. It's kind of up there, kind of middle with the Giratina from Lost Origin. Okay, let's do top cards. Probably like the Moonbreon from Evolving Skies, and then I've got to go the Espeon from Fusion Strike, and then I'm putting the Giratina and the Lugia at the same level. I think it depends sort of like what generation of Pokemon like really hit home for you the most and which you played the most with on the games and stuff. Definitely for me, Lugia just hits in the feels a little bit more than the Giratina, but then I know a lot of people really like that Giratina, and that's quite a cool sort of like moody dark style card as well, like the Lugia. So yeah, either way, Silver Tempest has that Lugia. That Lugia holds a decent price in a PSA 10, but again, I think it's just like super cheap compared to what it should be at. I think it's heavily undervalued, and I think Silver Tempest, for its original retail price, so not even the new retail price of 161, which is what you pay for retail now because of inflation with Scarlet and Violet. But yeah, $143 for Silver Tempest from the official source is pretty crazy in my opinion, and I think people are going to regret not buying more of it if you're in the US. Another notable thing to have a look at as well, let's just flip it from low to high, is Fusion Strike sleeved booster packs. I was pointing these out for weeks and weeks that it's a way to buy into Fusion Strike. Really positive sign that those have all sold out and all been hoovered up pretty quick. Occasionally they do go back into stock, so keep an eye on it, but that is crazy. If you can pick up any Fusion Strike and you calculate it down so that the pack to cost ratio is, you know, basically retail, so like around about $4, it's a good deal all day long. Let's just see what else you've got here, just out of curiosity. So that's all ultra modern. I haven't actually looked through this. Astral Radiance, like for $4 a pack, is not bad. Same with Silver Tempest. Like, I know you can get the booster boxes in for retail price, but that's really not a bad deal, if I'm honest, if you just want to spend or drip feed a few dollars a month into some of these sets, but you don't want to buy a whole booster box. Like, these are pretty decent because these sleeved booster packs are actually quite easy to sell on the back end. They're easy to store, easy to ship, and like they just keep them nice and protected, the booster packs. Right, let's have a look at the sets then, because I don't want to talk all day long and be here all day long for you. Let's have a look at what's going on with the sets then. We start off with the big boy. We have to, because what else are we going to start off with? It's the set that everyone's talking about. It is the king of sets over the last 3 eras at least, maybe 4 eras, arguably the best set of all time or soon to be the best set of all time. It is the one and only Evolving Skies. And I'm sorry, but last few months we were calling it. At this point we were saying Evolving Skies is about to move, it's about to shoot up in price. I got so many comments saying, no, you're too late on the boat, you know, $650 for an Evolving Skies pack, you know, you've missed the train, that's the highest it's ever going to be. Look, it's sat for the last 2 months, it hasn't gained up in price, this is the ceiling price. I saw it flatline here back in September. In September time, I just saw the price absolutely stable, that the supply and the demand were exactly equal, and I just knew. I was telling everyone on the channel here, I was saying, I know that it's expensive to buy into Evolving Skies now at, what was it, $6.90 a box. It seems expensive, but I'm telling you, it's cheap. This box should be well over $1,000 by now already. It's so undervalued, and we're seeing that now. Last sort of since the start of October, we've seen this big surge up in price. The graph has just gone like this again, week on week on week. We're just going up and up. Look at the 1 month chart. We're just going up and up and up incrementally, and I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. I've just called it. It should be over $1,000 a box now. I'm not talking in 6 months time, I'm not talking in a year's time, I'm saying right now it should be $1,000 a box plus. This is, in my opinion, by the end of 2024 nearing on $2,000 a box, maybe even more. Evolving Skies, I always make predictions on it and then it just outperforms my predictions. I make predictions that sound wild, like saying, oh yeah, 2k a box by the end of next year, but I mean, there is a strong possibility we're sat here this time next year and it's at like 3,000, 3,500, 4,000. That is one of the only sets that is possible with. Like, anything is possible with Evolving Skies is all I'm going to say. And I tell you what, they're not making any more of it. And the people that are sat on it right now, a lot of them don't want to sell them. So very quickly you can find yourself in situations where the supply really heavily outweighs the demand, and when that happens the price just goes up and up and up, and the people selling them and the people sat on them can just start to charge whatever they want. Let's have a look at prices then. So in the US right now, well, let's look at TCG Player. So TCG Player chart is a little bit all over the place, which is why I want to look at the US eBay as well. They're saying the average price is $800 right now, $806. And last week on the 19th, it was $760. So $760 to $823 if we're just going off of averages is $40, $50, $63. Let's just calculate that out. So 63 divided by, how much was it? 19th, 760, that was it, by 760 and then times 100. So it's had an 8.2% gain on their average chart in just the last in the last week. And you might think, okay, 8% is like quite a lot of money, or quite a bit of a gain to see in 7 days. But you've got to remember, it's just doing this week on week on week on week. So it's just compounding and just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And the gains are just getting more and more insane. And I'm telling you, you haven't seen anything yet. This is an undervalued box right now, even at this insane price point. It's the box everyone wants. And the whole Pokemon sealed market doesn't just go on supply and demand. It goes on like opinion, what people think things are worth. And we all know that this box is undervalued. Let's be honest. Evolving Skies at $820 a box or $823 a box, we all know that's undervalued. You look at sets that like aren't as good, that are a little bit older, from the Sun and Moon era that came before it. Some of those boxes are like $2,000, $3,000, and it's like, are you honestly telling me that you think that Evolving Skies won't go to that same price point as well? Of course it will. It's just going to take a little bit of time, and I really don't think it will take much time. I think 2025 is going to be an insane year for Pokemon, and particularly for sealed products in Sword and Shield. I think that the demand for these products is going to heavily outweigh the supply, and we're really starting to see just the really beginning stages of what is going to be 12 to 24 months of insane growth on these products. Right, I'm talking too long. I've got to get through all these tabs. Let's just keep going. So the TCG charts can be a little bit off. So one of the best ways to look is obviously on eBay. Let's have a look at what's going on with the US eBay then. So the cheapest you can buy one right now, ignore the postage because it's just calculating how much it would cost to post it to me in the UK. So we'll just assume it's free postage if you live in the US. So $748 a box. That is actually a pretty insane price, considering that some of the last sales on TCG Player are $869, $975. What is this $975? That's crazy. This is the problem. People play around with the prices and try and control the market because there's not that supply there. And this is exactly the reason why prices could just jump up to a crazy amount really quickly. Right, so $748 is the cheapest, which actually seems like an insane bargain at the moment, because if you scroll down, then the next best one is like $800, but you've got to import it from Canada and deal with that. And then it's straight to like $950, but you've got to import it from the UK. And then you're at, well, okay, $950, well, $900 if you live in the US, it'd be free postage. So yeah, within like one sale you have to go international, and then if you don't want to go international or those ones sell, then you're at $900 a box, which again is another $80 on top of that 8.2% rise. So next week we could be looking at another 10-12% rise. I actually got an interesting message from one of the subscribers on the channel that said that they took my advice and ordered an Evolving Skies booster box recently from eBay, and they said that in the time it took for them from paying for it on eBay to it actually arriving at their door, it had gone up 12% in value, which is absolutely insane. So they sent me a very nice message just to say thank you, and to say they were a bit skeptical about some of my claims about how quickly Evolving Skies will go up in price. But I mean, you can see that this chart. So they ordered it at some point in these last few weeks as this chart was just going vertical, and I think the chart's going to continue to go vertical. Once it starts going, it's like a snowball. I'm telling you, it's just going to ramp up and ramp up, unless Pokemon do something absolutely out of left field and blindside all of us and just like weirdly reprint all of Sword and Shield again, which I don't think they're ever going to do. But there is always like a small 2-3% chance that Pokemon will do something wild like that they've never done before. If they do that, then that's the only thing that's going to kill momentum. But again, with Evolving Skies, there's so much demand behind it, and everyone knows it's such a cool set that I think all that will do is just flatline the chart temporarily until that extra stock gets bought out, and then it will just start going up again. So yeah, absolutely crazy. The cheapest, really, like I said, if you take that one out of it and the international ones out, if you take that 750 out of it, you're at $900 a box already, and that's in a couple of sales. Like, I really do think it'll be there soon. I'm telling you, it should be $1,000 a box today, not next week, not in 6 months time. Today it should be $1,000 on the US market. It's undervalued. Let's have a look at last sales then. So yeah, I was saying that box is undervalued massively at $790. Sorry, $750, and you can see here, because last sale yesterday, $875. So try and explain that one to me. So $125. Someone paid $125 more yesterday than the cheapest one on there right now. I haven't actually inspected this one. There might be a reason why. Should we have a quick look? Okay, it looks fairly legit. It is a little bit beat up, but it's not bad. Just with like a quick scan through and a quick like look with my experienced eye. Obviously, I haven't done any proper looks at the photos, but just off the bat, it looks like a legit box, and it doesn't look like it's got any tears to it. Obviously, you'd have to read the description, see if they're saying anything bad about it, but it looks like a legit box that really is for a discounted price at the moment. If you're in the US, maybe pick yourself up a bargain there. Let's have a look at the UK then. The cheapest you can get it in the UK right now is £729, which is a slow increase in price. It's sort of just agreed that like 700 is the price now in the UK, and that seems to have creeped up over the last couple of weeks, and now the cheapest you can buy one on a buy it now is 730. Again, I think that's quite undervalued, and we should be at around about 800 a box here in the UK, and I think we'll be there very soon. I mean, let's have a look. So 730, next one's 740, next one's 755, 755, 760, 775, 775, 760, 780, 785, and then we're at 800. So we're at 800 within 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 sales. Within 11 sales of what's on there right now, we're at 800 a box, which is 80 more than that, which is 11%, 11.5% gain within 11 sales. So I'm telling you, Evolving Skies, even though it's going vertical, it's just going to keep going because there's not that supply there. The people who have it are holding it because we know it's undervalued right now. And you might say, oh, but PokePond, you told us on the channel that you sold off all your Evolving Skies. Yeah, I did sell off most of my Evolving Skies, but I'm still holding a box or two, and I'm going to hold it for the long haul. And I just reinvested that money into other things, so it's all good. Don't worry about me. Let's have a look then. Last sales, 759. 759 best offer accepted, 732. Like I said, it's kind of just like been accepted that 700 is like the base price here in the UK. And again, that's just slowly creeping up in the last couple of weeks. Look, we're seeing sales of 760 on a buy it now. We're seeing 732 plus 7 postage, 740 all in. Really positive sign for Evolving Skies. I still think it's got a lot more room to run, as do the Elite Trainer boxes. I've been telling you guys about these Elite Trainer boxes. I called it from the start a couple of months ago when these were 100 a box, sub 100 a box. Now they're nearly 200 a box. The reason why these are going up in price and will continue to go up in price is because people can't always afford these. They can't afford the booster boxes, so that is going to mean that people are going to invest into these, and I think these are actually nicer to display. I think you're better off buying a booster box if you can afford it. Only ever invest with money that you can afford to lose. But yeah, 180 a box is just the cheapest agreed price right now. Let's have a look at Fusion Strike then. So Fusion Strike was on a bit of a discount recently. you can see that it was around about the $230 range, and then it dropped down to around about $210. At this point, I was telling you guys, look, it's not going to get any cheaper than this. You're not going to get any more supply of Fusion Strike. It's just not going to happen. The fact that you can pick this up in the UK for retail is absolutely bananas, because you can see here on the chart where I've got my mouse right now is what it was at retail price. Soon as it went out of stock, it just skyrocketed here in February. It went from $161 a box right up to $242 a box, which is absolutely crazy. I think the UK is going to see the exact same thing happen once it goes out of stock, but it's still looking like a strong box in the US. If we zoom out a little bit, let's go 6 months. Let's go a year actually. So its all-time high was at $244 a box, which was just when it went out of stock. People FOMO'd into it, and it had a bit of a price correct. Well, it stayed stable for a couple of months. Then it had a bit of a price drop recently around about September time, and now we're creeping back up, and we're not far from the all-time high. So we're at $225 right now, and all-time high is $236, $242. So $242, that's less than $20. That's less than 10% away from its all-time high. And I just think Fusion Strike is such a brilliant set. I put it in my top 3 sets of Sword and Shield, and I really do think it's going to do brilliantly long term. It's obviously got that card that I mentioned earlier, the Alt Art Espeon, which I just think is a fantastic card. It's one of my favourites. Let's have a look at last sales on TCG Player. Okay, 215, 230, 222. So it's up there, you know. One of them sold for like 230, which is $14 from its all-time high. Like, it's a no-brainer. Like, everything is just like right at the highest point, or just below the highest point it's ever going to be, or it's ever been. And the market is just set to do so well in 2025. I can see all of the stars are aligning, and it's just going to be an insane year. It only takes one thing as well. I've been in the Pokemon hobby for so long now that it just goes in cycles of it being out of the spotlight a little bit to then being in the spotlight. And when it's in the spotlight, everyone's talking about Pokemon. So many people flood back to Pokemon, and we're just not at that stage yet. We're just at that stage where we're kind of out of the limelight at the moment. We're doing okay, we're ticking along. The new kids are getting into the newer sets and stuff, which is brilliant. But I'm telling you, it just takes one hype thing to happen in the next year or 2 years, and everything's just going to explode again. But I really do think that 2025, even without a hype event, it's just accelerating. The market's just getting to the stage where these older Sword and Shield boxes are just going to explode in price. Let's have a look then. So cheapest you can buy it in the UK right now is actually, you can pick it up for retail on the Pokemon Center, as we said, for 140-ish pounds. Cheapest you can get on the secondary market is 156, and it's creeping up a little bit. You could get it for around about 150 a couple of weeks ago, and you can see that it actually sells for that. So a minty box including postage is 160. That is super cheap. Look at what's going on in the US markets. Look, 230 a box, just because they're out of stock of it. Just because we've got stock, it's cheap. Look. But yeah, you can buy it from the official source for £143, or you can buy one on eBay for 155, 160. Lost Origin. Look at what's going on with the chart. We're just going vertical again on Lost Origin. Again, got one of the top 5 cards. It's got that Giratina. It's got that chase card. The US markets are really just starting to heat up, and we haven't seen anything yet. Last sales, 225. These are all picture boxes. 239, 225, 240, 240. Like, it's right there, guys. Like, and it's at its all-time high. Look, it's broke past its all-time high, and there's nothing stopping it. There's nothing to stop Lost Origin just cranking up to 400 a box, 500 a box. I could see it happening over the next year. I could see it doubling in price. Easily could. Cheapest you can buy it in the UK right now is It's kind of agreed that the price right now is 200. Occasionally you get some sales that are like a little bit below. You might get a little discount of like £5 or £10 if you hit it on an auction, or you just see someone here, look, new listing, they're just coming in trying to be the lowest, just dump it off. It does look like quite a clean box they've got there, so that's quite nice. It almost looks a little bit too clean actually. Let's have a quick look. Sorry, I just get suspicious when I start delving in and going down rabbit holes. That is actually a really clean box and it looks legit as well. So yeah, fair play whoever's selling that. You can get a little £5 discount on it if you buy it from that person. Looks pretty legit in my eyes. 95.3% feedback ratio on 100 sales. That means 5 sales went south. Maybe not. Maybe you just pay an extra £5 and get it from the next guy. That's entirely up to you though. Let's have a look at last sales then. Last sales £198. Like I said, it's a £200 box all day long now. 200. One sold for £210. That was about 5 days ago. Again, supply and demand. You're getting like a bit of a difference in price just because they're not always available, and people can just like the price swings around a little bit. So it goes from 195 to 210, and you're thinking, Pond, £15 is nothing. What are you talking about with prices swinging around? Okay, but when it's only 200 a box, that's an 8% swing in a couple of days. Like, that's a decent amount of money, especially if you're buying into multiple of them. If you've got 10 of them, 20 of them, an 8% swing is actually quite a significant amount. Okay, Astral Radiance. Astral Radiance is one of those sets that you can basically just pick up from retail all around the globe right now. You can't buy it from the UK right now, can you? You can. You can buy it from the UK for retail, and you can buy it from the US, I believe, on Pokemon Center. Let's have a look before I quote you wrong. You can't. It's sold out in the US. Interesting. It is still available for retail though, pretty much everywhere. Don't sleep on it. Above average set. It's in the top half of Sword and Shield. The fact that you can pick it up out of print window for retail price, not a bad set that not many people have eyes on. Sometimes that's one of the best ways to have a nice investment, and I quite often like investing into the more niche products. I like having things in my collection because at the end of the day I'm sort of half and half, an investor and a collector. Obviously I want to make sound decisions, but I also don't always pick what's best. Sometimes I like to spread my risk around by going into lots of different products. That's another thing as well. You don't want to have everything in one product, unless maybe it's Evolving Skies, because Evolving Skies I think is a pretty safe bet. But my point is, I'm also a bit of a collector, and I like having sort of one of everything as well. And I just really like Astral Radiance as well. I think it's a cool set. And in the UK, where it's still available for retail, you can get crazy bargains on it right now, because I'm telling you, people don't have eyes on it, and there's always people with these sets that need to dump. There are people who have probably had it for a little while and can't afford to keep it anymore. Maybe they need to free up the money. Maybe they've held it since release. Maybe they've had it 2.5 years. They were expecting it to double in price, and it hasn't. It's still sat at retail because it's still available. So you know, they want to get out of it. They don't want to hold it anymore. They just want to cut their losses, free up their money and get out. And this is what you're seeing here in the market. And you can get real bargains because no one's looking at this. Look, £126 and a couple of pounds postage. So under 130. Now this came out when it retailed for £143. So you're getting about a 6% discount on retail, way out of its print window. And we're not talking about sets that are bad. These are really good sets. Look at this guy. So he's selling it for 130, so way below retail, minty, and he's got multiple of them. So what he probably did, look, he's saying box 3, box 4. What he probably did is he probably had a whole case of them. He probably bought a whole case for maybe 10% under retail, and now he's selling it individually by the box for about the same price that he bought it for, because no one's buying Astral Radiance right now. No one's got their eyes on it. Everyone's got their eyes all over Evolving Skies, Brilliant Stars, Fusion Strike. Don't sleep on Astral Radiance, guys. There's deals to be had out there. There's people that are always going to need to dump product, and again, if there's not the demand there of the people buying it, then again, the price can drop just as quickly as it can go up. Astral Radiance in nearly 2025 for below retail for minty boxes, to me, is absolutely crazy. Let's have a quick look at some of the other sets then that we've been talking about. We won't go through everything in Sword and Shield. We'll just go through the main ones that I think will have a really good year next year. Brilliant Stars is one of those boxes. Obviously, we saw the huge increase in price from around about, this was it going out of stock around about March sort of time. We saw a big increase in price to close to $200 a box. I did actually see some sell for $200 a box. And then we've just been flatlining for the last couple of months. We are at 180 on the average right now, 178 again. Brilliant Stars, you can get deals on it. I think it's a $200 box all day long right now. So if you can pick one up for 180, in my eyes, that is, you know, a 10% discount. I think it will do really well over the next year. And again, top half of Sword and Shield out of the sets. Really nice chase card. I think it'll do well. We talked a little bit about that earlier. You can pick it up for retail in the UK from Pokemon Center or from secondary markets here for basically the same price, £144. That's £2 over retail, but at least if you buy from eBay, eBay's got your back if you want to return it, and you can actually inspect it and make sure there's no like rips or tears or seals or stuff like that. Always check on your seller, make sure they've got a nice positive feedback rating. This looks like a nice clean box, and do you know what I like to see? I like to see a nice clean background around it as well. It's not hard to do, to take the time to just put it somewhere nice. I mean, it looks like they've just put it on their floor, but they've got a nice floor, and it's a nice clean floor, and it looks like the box is just well looked after, and that's what I'm looking for when I'm buying sealed product. Silver Tempest is one of those boxes that you can get in the US for retail straight from the Pokemon Center, which is why the price is low. However, it's actually a fire box. It's a fire set. It's got the Lugia, which is amazing. I think as soon as you see Silver Tempest go out of stock, you're going to see exactly what you saw with Brilliant Stars here. It's going to shoot from 165 to nearly 200 a box. I don't know how long it's going to take for it to go out of stock, but when it does, I really do think Silver Tempest will shoot up in price. Its all-time high was, let's see, yeah, like 165. It's just because it's never really not been available in the US, and it's way out of print window as well. And I think people are really going to FOMO into it once they realise they can't get it anymore. I've seen it with so many other sets. It happened with Brilliant Stars. It happened with Chilling Reign. It happened with all of these sets. Lost Origin. So many sets. I think Astral Radiance will be the same actually. Let's have a look at the cheapest in the UK right now then. 140. There is one for 139, but it says it's dented, so I wouldn't even bother. Pay an extra £1, get a nice one. Oh, it's actually from the same seller, which has the nice wood floor. Do you know what? It's so strange. Where I check these like so regularly, I know the UK market inside out and the prices. I actually recognise sellers by what their floors look like and what's in the background of their photos. It's really bad. Like if you showed me like a random photo, for example like this, and I didn't see anything else of the page, I would know the seller's name just by their floor. It's quite bad. Maybe I've got a bit of a problem, but this is why it's such a passion of mine, and YouTube is so perfect for me because I'm doing this anyway. It's not like I'm making a special effort to go through all this analysis to make a video. It's literally me just recording what I would be doing anyway and have been doing for the last 7-8 years. I do this at least 2 to 3 times a week. I know I make a video once a week, but at least 2 to 3 times a week. I get a bit obsessed and just go through like everything. I look at all the charts, all the prices, but I think part of the reason for that is A, I have such a love for Pokemon, and B, my job, my actual normal job. I work a normal 9 to 5 full-time job. I'm a data analyst, and so yeah, I just do that all day long anyway, so it's just programmed in my brain. So I'm just doing data analysis at work, and then I just come home and just do it on Pokemon as well. So it's perfect for me. Chilling Reign, don't sleep on Chilling Reign. Chilling Reign is one of my favourite sets. It never really went up in price until it was just not available at all. So around about March time, you could still pick it up for retail, which is mad because, well, no, December. Yeah, about December, about a year ago, you could get it for retail. And I was saying to people back then, like, that is a really good deal because it's such a cool set. And the thing you got to realize with Chilling Reign as well is Chilling Reign came out right in the middle of the C19 scenario. You guys know what I'm talking about. I won't say the exact words because YouTube picks that up and then makes your video negatively favored. But yeah, when C19 was happening, Chilling Reign came out, and there were a lot of problems with Pokemon trying to produce the product to a high standard. So they basically just had to get it printed wherever they could, and it meant that all of the first early waves on release, the quality of the cards were just awful, like really bad. So there's actually not that many PSA 10s in the Chase Alt Art cards. So when it comes to 2 years later, 3 years later, that we're starting to get to now, even more years into the future, I think that those alt art cards are going to go up in price more significantly because there's less of them available in a PSA 10, and that will influence the sealed booster box price. Chilling Reign, I'm so happy it's had a good year. So this year, Chilling Reign over the last 12 months has gone up 55.17%. Chilling Reign previous to this year just never really saw that growth that I thought it deserved, and I do still think it's undervalued right now. So it's at what, $227 a box? I would really like to see it at over $400 a box by the end of 2025. I'm not sure if it will get there by the end of 2025, but it certainly deserves to, and if it doesn't by Christmas next year, it definitely will early into the following year. And yeah, I just love Chilling Reign. Again, it's one of these sets that I think is cool. I don't think it's the best investment, but I think it's a solid investment, and I'd rather have like more niche products like this in my collection just because I like having it for the collection purposes as well. You need to ask yourself, and you can be in denial about this as well, what are you in it for? Are you in it purely for money? Because if you're in it purely for money, then, you know, if you're in the UK, buy Fusion Strike, or buy Evolving Skies, or buy Ultra Modern. Buy Ultra Modern at 30% below retail on pre-release and sit on it for 5 years if you're really in it for the money. But if you're like me, you're not just in it for the money. It is about having the collection piece. And for me, one of the easiest ways that I could sort of identify that within myself is when I had a box shipped from a third-party supplier. I bought a brand new booster box. It was a third-party big box store. It got delivered to me, and it didn't even have a tear in the seal. It just had a mark on the seal where like the seal had like rubbed up against something. And I was willing to take essentially a 20% loss on buying that straight away to sell it on eBay, eat the fees, eat the delivery, just because it wasn't perfect. And at that point, I realized to myself, I'm not in it for the money, because I would quite happily sacrifice 20% of the product value on something that's brand new, that there's nothing wrong with it, just because it's not perfect. And that was a realization in myself that really I'm a collector, and that's why I want more products like this. Things that make me happy, things that I'm proud to have in my collection, like some Chilling Reign, like some Darkness Ablaze, like some Astral Radiance. Have a good talk with yourself, work out what you are, because it does really help you, and it does help influence what you should buy and what you shouldn't buy, and we're all different. Let's have a look at Chilling Reign then. Cheapest you can buy it in the UK right now is 196. It's agreed that it's a £200 a plus box at this point. Last sales, someone sniped one on an auction for 187. That's what I mean. Even on a sniped auction, it's still nearly 200. And then on the buy it nows, 210 all in, 205. It's just a brilliant box. 195 right now. Pretty good deal. Yeah, I'm definitely more of a collector. So to summarize, Evolving Skies to the moon, as always. It's just creeping and creeping and creeping. I think it's going to have a really good year. We've got new Eevee set on the horizon. Keep an eye out on that. I'll keep you posted on the channel. Could be an absolutely insane set coming. As soon as I know more, I'll let you know. 151 extra collection boxes could be pretty cool. Might be a nice way to pick up some cheap 151 packs. And GameStop doing weird things with slabs, but that doesn't really matter. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you subscribe down below to never miss an opportunity. I'll always keep you up to date with everything and point out plays when I see them. I won't just keep them to myself. Again, have a wonderful day. Peace.